Hello everyone, my name is Evie Lupine. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have another video for you all. As you can tell by today's setup, we are doing something on the internet, and actually what we're going to be doing is looking at another BDSM app. So last time we did this, you might remember, we reviewed an app called No Gray that was supposed to be a negotiation checklist framework social media app kind of thing all in one. And in the comments of that, as well as on Patreon, a couple of you all mentioned this other app called Obedience, which I've never heard of before. And it's literally called Obedience, BDSM habit tracker app for couples. And what I find really interesting about this is the fact that it exists at all. I am really surprised actually, because typically stuff like this gets deleted off of the Play Store. Like, that's why No Gray had issues. That's why FetLife doesn't really have an official app. You have to do some kind of backdoor stuff to get it on your phone that isn't necessarily super safe. But this is just straight up on the App Store, which is so fascinating to me. I have really recommended habit tracking stuff for BDSM for a long time. And this is something that Mr. Tex and I use before we lived together. Not this exact app, but habit trackers, task managers, but all of them have been vanilla ones that have been used for kink purposes, which obviously has its downsides. Now, I would love to be able to show you guys a website or something that is from the developers that says more about the intention behind this app, but really all there is the description on the Play Store. So it basically says, one, they've added some more advanced permission controls to prevent submissives from editing rules or adding habits, punishments, and rewards. And there's just a general description. It's meant to track habits, rewards, and punishments. It says Obedience is a habit tracker for BDSM couples. Whether you've been practicing BDSM for a long time or you're new to the scene, Obedience will help you and your partners track daily and weekly habits and put the dominant in charge of rewards and punishments. Couples can connect their phones, which enable one to update their habit status and spend their rewarded coins, and the other to see these real-time updates and set up a reward and punishment system. Features include add daily or weekly habits, add punishments, add rewards, give punishments and rewards automatically or manually, give submissive points that they can spend on rewards, real-time sharing between dominant and submissive, see stats and graphs about your habits, set remind/alarm notifications, supports multiple submissives, choose from different color themes. Ooh, different color themes, tell me more. The most interesting thing about this app is the multiple color choices of theme. No, so I am very curious to see how this works. I have not tried this before at all, so this is a complete, total, honest first impression, because that's how I like doing these. I don't know if it's going to work, if I'm going to be able to fully see all the functionality because of that. I might just make 2 accounts and then try one from the sub side and one from the dom side, and we're just going to check and see how that works. But I am using this on BlueStacks, so this is not actually on my phone, but it should basically be the exact same thing. So let's go over. Let's look at Obedience. And the first thing you have to do, obviously, is you have to make an account. So what do you think my name's going to be? Evie Lupine. Oh dear, typing and talking at the same time is hard. All right, Evie Lupine. And then I'm going to do my email address and password, and then editing magic will take us to the next screen. Obviously, I'm going to go through first as a submissive, and then if need be, I will make another account. We will go through this from the dominant side as well. Okay, so they have a tutorial here for us to get started. Let's go through the tutorial, and then it'll explain it to us a little bit better. Okay, so down here, habits. Okay, great. Ooh, meditation. That's a good one to have. There you go. It's one thing you have to do every day. I'm assuming the circles indicate whether or not you've done it on that particular day or not. And then today, you can click on the little plus button. You kind of hard to see it up in the corner, but you can see if you've completed an activity. You can see, yep, there's a history. First circle represents yesterday, second circle, day before, etc. A full circle means well done, an empty circle means you didn't complete the task. Oh dear, that is how you get punished. And the habit, you can click on the habit in order to see more information and stats, or to change or delete the habit. You can click to add new habits. Cool, cool, cool. You can see settings. Great. Love setting. You can see results. Ooh, there's graphs. There's graphs and charts. You can see punishments. Ooh, that's exciting. And yep, there's punishments. I don't know if that's like the number of spankings. I'm assuming that means the number of spankings that you've earned, and then maybe when the punishment is complete, you press the reset button. Yeah, there you go. Current amount. Ooh, you get to see the exact number. That can be quite intimidating, I think, compared to just being like, oh, I get a spanking, as opposed to exactly 25. All right, rewards. Rewards are fun. We all like rewards, right? Ice cream. Ooh, okay. So you earn points, and then you can spend those points on rewards. You can buy ice cream. I think that means cost 20, and you have one? Yeah. This is a very thorough tutorial. Okay, so let's see. You do not have a partner yet. You can go to settings to invite your partner so you can share habits, rewards, and punishments with them. You do not have any habits yet. You can click on the plus button below to add a new habit. Okay, so I think let's just start out with like adding habits and things. I mean, obviously I'm not using this over the course of like weeks to be able to like fully test this out. So I guess this is like more of a first impressions on like sheerly like, do I think this app would work like in daily use for a couple? So let's look at habits. Do a little plus. Okay. Let's see. I feel like let's do brushing teeth is a good one. Habit. Oh, I think you can add descriptions for everything. I feel like, especially if you have a bratty partner or a rules lawyery partner, or you just have kind of maybe obscure rules that need more explanation, being able to fully type out like exactly what the expectation is would be great. So you will brush your teeth for at least 2 minutes 2 times per day. Great. And then we can choose, ooh, you can do it so you have it set for specific days and then even the specific time you want to have it to be done. Ooh, that's really good for like time sensitive stuff. I like that actually. That's something I don't remember being able to do in like any of the other apps that I've tried that aren't BDSM specific. You can't really say I want to do this exactly this time. I use things like, it was noble, like it was something where it was like, you know, take charge of your life, take charge of your habits was the one that I used. So we could say we want it to be repeated at that time. It must be completed before 15:45, which would be 3:45 for those of us who don't use that way of measuring units of time. I feel like this is kind of small. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, because it definitely is not taking up the full. I was worried that like this, you guys can't see what I'm pointing at, but I was worried that, like this corner was going to have stuff in it, but really this is kind of the part that's actually showing the app. So it must be completed at least 6 times. So basically if it repeats weekly in order to not get a punishment, let's say, yeah, 6 times, like just like 1 day for leeway. You know, we run late in the morning. We sometimes just, you know, run out of toothpaste. I don't know. You can add a punishment. Okay, so you can add punishments. So you can do losing points. 100 points if you fuck this up. Wow, that would be pretty severe. Yeah, lose points if done less than. Okay, so you can even kind of tailor this a little bit where there's like, you know, maybe the expectation is you do it 7 times to get a reward, but you will only get a punishment if you do it like 6 times or 5 times or less or something. So there's flexibility there that I think could be interesting for certain rules and punishments. Let's just say, you know, it's just brushing teeth. Maybe that's not super important to me. Let's do that. Lose a point if done less than 5 times. Great, great. You can choose a reward. I wonder with punishment, is there a way to do something besides losing points? I guess not. Maybe I need to add more punishments first before I can do that. So choose reward. So let's say if you do it, you know, every single day that week, you earn 5 points. I have no idea how the economy of this works. I feel like honestly that might be the hardest part of using this app as a dom, would be figuring out like what is an appropriate allocation of points. Like having to sit down with this spreadsheet and like figuring out, okay, am I going to make it too easy to get this reward? Am I going to make it too difficult? I think that would probably need some tweaking throughout the time of using this. So, oh, I guess I was done. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I want to look at this. Okay, I guess we're just done with that now. I'll have to make another habit anyways so I can look at different punishment options. So there are premium features in this. I don't know what all of the premium features are because it doesn't say, but I do know that there are things you have to pay for if you want to have them on this app. Like notifications are apparently a premium feature. I don't know how much premium costs. And of course now you guys can't like see everything on the screen, so it just says delete habit up there in the corner, and you can see your days completed, your streak, and then your best streak, so you can always compare yourself to the best version of who you are as a submissive. So that is that. Is there a way to get back? Oh, I can change habit. So let's say notifications. Dominant gets notified when the submissive completes the habit. Dominant gets notified every time the counter changes. Okay, that could be interesting. And then other settings. Ooh, okay, what is Dawson? Where is that? Dawson Creek. Oh, okay, this is just like time zone stuff. So if it's time sensitive, you obviously want to have it in the right time zone, because if you are on the East Coast and you are setting everything to be done per West Coast time, that is going to mess with your ability to accurately complete your tasks as expected. So yeah, I think the dominant can change the counter as well, which I think is a good feature. So if for some reason they want to override something, or they notice that you completed a task and you didn't record it, I think that can also be a good feature. So let's just go ahead and let's change that. Is there a way for me to get out of this? How do I get out of this? Hello? Okay, I just had to press the escape button. I don't know what the key for that would be in not BlueStack, but I almost got stuck there for a minute. Okay, let's look at punishments, which I think is funny. It's a gavel. I think that's so funny. Okay, I want to click on the plus button, which you guys can't see because it's underneath my face, but there you go. I just want to make sure you guys can see the text because I think that's more important. But let's do punishment. Ooh, what would be a good punishment? Let's just go with spankings. Let's do something that would have a numerical attachment to it. So spankings. 1 spanking with a bare hand. Again, adding more description so you know what to expect. I know some people who have used this app before get really colorful with their descriptions of the punishments and with the rewards as well. So it can actually be a little bit of a fun way to engage in roleplay. So you can do it like I'm doing, where it's very like bare bones, very just like instructional. This is what you need to expect. And then other times you can kind of have it be a little bit like role play built into before you do the punishment or before you give the reward, or just for the habit in general. Like, you know, little one, you have disappointed me this week with your inability to obey my commands. You will be receiving your punishment, and when you do, I expect you to smile at me and say yes sir. So you can add like that kind of detail to it as well. So I'm just gonna keep it simple because I don't got time to write out all that stuff, but just some ideas if you want to do that. So you can add a counter there. So let's just do 11. 11 sounds like a good number. All right, change manually. And then you can see the history when it gets changed, which I think is good, again, especially if you have a rules lorry submissive or a bratty submissive, or just somebody who likes to question the order of things. It is good to say, you know, this is when I changed this. This is why I changed this. I think there's another good feature about like the description for the punishment is you can say if it's connected to something in particular, you know, you are getting this because XYZ, in case for some reason it's not obvious through the app, which it might not be. But that is what we've got so far. So we've got spankings, got a habit. If I make a new habit, can I add this punishment to that new habit? Let's find out. Okay. Drinking water, another classic. Drinking 8 ounce. Drinking 8 ounces 8 times per day. Drinking 8 ounces 8 times per day. Great. Okay, we can add punishment. Punishment added successfully. Okay, wait, no, I made it a punishment by accident. I thought I was making a habit. Oh no. Okay, let's go back to habits. This is going to be confusing. Okay, habit name. Drinking water. Maybe it would be better if they had some like color coding differences, because this is all like one very specific color scheme. And I feel like maybe if they had it so like punishments were this color and this was this color, and maybe they did say that you could change the color of things. I haven't actually seen that option yet, so we'll look for that in a minute, but you know, we'll see. That might be part of the thing that would help here. Drink 8 ounces 8 times per day. Okay, and then choose time every day by, you know, 11:45. That seems reasonable. At least a bunch of times. Choose punishment. All right, can I add punishment? Yes, I can add spankings. And then I think what will happen, okay, so let's see if I do 1 time spanking. That should mean you get 11 spankings, because the spanking units that we used originally were in 11s. So what if I do 2? That should make it 12 total, I think. Okay, if done less than 48 times, 49 times. Great, that's perfect. Love that. And you can choose a reward. 5,000 points. Drinking water is very, very important to me. If you do it perfectly, though. I wish there were more options. Like, keeping it at 50 seems like a weird cap. Like, especially when points go up to 5,000. Like, what if it needs to be 100 times? What if it needs to be 3,000 times? I don't know. I mean, that does seem kind of ridiculous, but I don't know what kind of things people are using this for. There could be a use case for that. And then, you know, everybody gets to change everything. That sounds great. All right, add habit. All right, now I can't actually see the implementation of punishments because I haven't done a whole week of this yet, so I can't see what that looks like. But I think it's good to just see like what the functionality of this is. Now let's take a little brief moment here. Let's look at some settings. What settings do we have? Obedience Pro. What does that have? Okay, so you get unlimited habits. So if you don't pay for premium, it's limited to just 7 habits. And then you both need a subscription if you want to change the number of habits. You get individual habit reminders, and you get themes. So I'm not going to be able to change the color themes. I think for certain people that might be really important, like especially if this is a hard theme for you to look at, like if this color scheme doesn't work for you. And then support a solo developer. Bless. You are on that grind. Thank you for making this app. It is not necessarily an easy process to make an app, especially for a very niche community. It is $3.49 a month, which if you are doing this for both accounts, which I'm assuming you would want to if you want to have unlimited habits, which seems like probably the biggest one that people would want to use. That is like $7 a month, which is maybe a little bit pricey. I don't think this is necessarily too expensive. I think it would depend on like how much this really helped you in your BDSM relationship, right? Some people are very like self-driven. Some people really like handwritten stuff. Some people like keep their own schedule down to a T, and so they don't really necessarily need something with that much detail. But for certain people, like maybe long distance relationships, where having something like this that is very detailed can be very helpful. I think there is certainly a person out there that would really get a lot of use out of a pro subscription. And it's only $13 for a whole year. So I feel like that's not too bad. Or 14, I guess. Let's round up. Come on now. All right, so we're not going to upgrade. And then the very last thing that I wanted to look at here were just the results. So you can see what your weekly score is. You can see what your monthly score is. Your perfect days, your streaks, all that. Again, you know, you can see like per each task that you have what your whole thing has been. Current streak is apparently 3, so we're doing pretty good. I don't know what I did to earn that, but I did. And I think the only thing we need to look at is the rewards. So we can go ahead and add a reward really quick and just see how that looks. So let's say cuddles. 10 minutes of cuddles. This costs 1 point. Now remember, you get 5,000 if you drink water 50 times. So that equals a lot of cuddles. So you have a reward added successfully. Now I don't necessarily have anything I could spend it on, but let's say I was just like knocking it out of the park there. I got a bunch of teeth brushing done. Does that give me points? No. Okay. I think it must maybe not issue the points until the week actually rolls over. Let's just quickly see. Maybe let's add a habit where you get to choose the time where it's custom. So you can do custom, and then you can pick like specific days. So let's say on the 13th, right? 13th. It's not Friday the 13th, it's Thursday the 13th, which is today. You can do that, which is cool. I don't know how to make it actually stay that way. Okay. Must be completed on the selected days before 23:45. So our only options are specific days or weekly, which I feel like is kind of a downfall. Like if you've ever used Google Calendar, which I imagine a lot of you probably have, I really like that because you get to get really detailed with the custom. Like you can say every Monday and Friday, or every third Wednesday, or every whatever. Like there's a lot of kind of built-in options for Google Calendar, and this is very tedious. Like imagine having to go through months of a calendar and just say every Monday and Thursday you need to do this kind of training, because otherwise the only option is like weekly, I guess. Although I guess if you go back, if we do weekly, we could do like Monday and Wednesday. What if it's like every other Monday and Wednesday? You know, like that kind of thing, right? Where it's maybe not as consistent as just like every single week or individual days, that whole kind of area between that. So I think that could be improved for sure, like getting more options for the calendar, because I think that would just make it easier for people to use. But otherwise, I like the design of the app overall. I think it is simplistic, but it does offer options for punishment, reward, habit tracking, all of that good stuff. I do like that it is something that's developed by kinky people for kinky people. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I have used stuff like this in the past, but it hasn't been kink specific, and that can be kind of limiting for certain reasons, because ultimately what that kind of ends up being is those habit trackers are meant for you to track your own habits. There's not really that kind of built-in accountability from another person there, like there is with something like this, where like another person has to like check off what you're doing. The only other thing I can think of where that is maybe the case is like Todoist. You can have somebody make like a group task, and then they assign things in that like group task for you to do specifically, but that's like you gotta really understand how to use Todoist to like make that work consistently for a BDSM sort of setup. So I think that this could be really good. I think that the features are kind of bare bones. Like it's not like an all-in-one like BDSM relationship app, right? Like this isn't going to replace like FetLife or like whatever your main mode of communication is with the person. It's just like a nice way of keeping track of things. And especially if you are in a situation where, again, maybe you're long distance, or maybe you live with family, maybe you can't have something physical like a calendar out, or maybe you don't like writing, maybe you don't have a diary, anything like that. I think this could be a good alternative to maybe more traditional physical ways of keeping track of things. And I like that there are a lot of different settings when it comes to like who gets to change what, and you know, the partners and everything else. I wish maybe there was a way where you could do this for like switches. I think that might be actually the main thing about this I'd want to see improved, is like there are people who have multiple concurrent BDSM relationships who probably don't want to make 20 different accounts for obedience, and don't want to have to pay like half of their income every month to pay for obedience for all of their different accounts. And I think it could be maybe a little bit challenging, especially for a solo developer, but something I think is worth looking at is how can you make this more accessible for people who are switches, who not only have dominant partners but have submissive partners as well, so they can have something in their app that allows them to kind of distinguish between those relationship pairings and also navigate between both of them. Like maybe if you had like a home screen or something where you got to pick from like which pairing you were looking at. Like if you were looking at like obedience with, and then you got to see like, you know, obedience with Susie, obedience with Bob, obedience with, you know, slave Derek, whatever. Like you got to pick which person you were looking at. I think that would be super helpful. But we could like invite somebody to join us apparently I don't have an app that can perform that function because I'm on BlueStack. I'm not on my actual phone. So you can invite people to this, and that could be your dominant, that could be your submissive. I am curious, they do have an invite submissive link, because if you remember at the beginning, they only said that dominants can have multiple submissive partners. So like if a submissive invites another submissive, is it just like you join obedience but you're not paired with them? I don't really know how that works. I'm not really sure. That seems a little bit confusing to me. But that is basically what obedience is. This is my little review of obedience. I think it definitely has a lot of promise to it. If you've been looking for an app, for a habit tracker that is made with BDSM in mind, I definitely think this is a good place to start. I wouldn't necessarily go straight to premium unless you know you're going to be somebody who uses this a lot and you have more than 7 habits you want to track. I think it might be worth trying it out for a month if it's like $3 or $4, and I would give it a shot and just see how it works. If you've been struggling with keeping track of things, like not only on the submissive side but on the dominant side as well, it can be a lot of work to keep track of punishments, keep track of rewards, make sure that you're actually following through on punishments as well. Like that could be another thing I think would be interesting to add to this app, is like we have notifications, right, for submissives to complete their tasks. What if we also had like notifications for doms who needed to follow up on their punishments or needed to follow up on like giving out their rewards? I think also having that as well could just increase the usability of this app, because I think for a lot of people that I've heard from, one of the difficulties of, you know, maintaining a very rules focused BDSM relationship is the actual follow through on the other end. Like, okay, we've agreed that these are the punishments, these are the rewards, these are the XYZ things we're going to do. And then you do them and you keep track, and then it comes time for the punishment and the rewards, and then it's the next week already and you're back to square one and you're keeping track of everything. So I think having more accountability on that end would be nice as well, just as like more ideas for additional features. But I think as a start, this is really good, and I am curious to know what you guys think. Do you use obedience? Are you going to try it out? What do you think of it? Do you have any other BDSM related apps you think I should take a look at? I would love to know. You can leave those down in the comment section below. I just want to put out maybe a little bit of a disclaimer here, because I don't know if this is going to come out, but like obedience, the person who developed it did not contact me or ask me to review this in any way. This is just my honest opinion. This is based on suggestions that I received from people in the comments and on my Patreon chat. So this is like completely not sponsored, not anything like that, just to like make that 100% crystal clear. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this, if you want to see more from me, you can subscribe to my channel. I make videos twice a week about all sorts of BDSM and kink related topics. If you really enjoyed this, if you want to support my work, the best way you can do that is through Patreon. Link to that will be down in the description box below. And again, if you already support me over there, thank you so much. It means the absolute world to me. And until I see you guys next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.